Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today we'll talk about the world, understanding the world. We live in this world, born in it, going to live in it till our last day. So it's a good place to try and understand what is this world all about. If we get a proper understanding of the world, hopefully we will be less disappointed with what is going on. The first thing that we understand about the world, the first idea we must get settled in our head about this world is that by its nature, by its type, by its fundamental characteristic, the world means change. Change is the way the world is. It is in a constant flux of change. It's always changing. It seems difficult for us humans to understand this. We very unconsciously expect a status quo. But the fact of the matter is that it changes. Day changes to night, night changes to day. So many changes are going on all the time. A child is young, he grows up. So many changes taking place all the time. A business goes through profit and loss. A physical body goes through health and ill health. There is constant and perpetual change going on in this world. And this is shown by the three gods of the Hindu pantheon, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. Brahma is supposed to be the god of creation. Maheshwara, Shiva, is the god of destruction. So there is constant creation and destruction, and in this thing the world is maintained. Because creation and destruction are interlinked. There's no difference between the two. Therefore, a third god was invented. It's very interesting that some believe in Vishnu and some believe in Maheshwara, Shiva, and these sects, they fight amongst each other. Who is the greater god? Not realizing that it's all part of that same intrinsic idea. It's just a representative idea that the world is made up of creation, maintenance and destruction. So they personify these gods and say, I believe in this god being the greatest. Not true. They're all equal because they're all personifying the same great idea of change. So they fought amongst themselves, the Vaishnavites and the Shaivites. And then another god was created, Lord Dattatreya. Lord Dattatreya is supposed to be the combination of these, just showing that creation, maintenance, destruction are very inherently linked with each other. The creation of one thing is the destruction of something else, and the destruction of something is the creation of something else. The destruction of the seed is the creation of the tree. If you take one stick and break it into two, you have destroyed the one stick and created two. So creation and destruction are very inherently linked with each other. When morning is destroyed, noon is created. When noon is destroyed, afternoon is destroyed, evening is created. When evening is destroyed, night is created. When night is destroyed, morning is created. So this creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin. All destruction and creation are inherently related to each other. We don't understand that. We think that things will go on being maintained without any form of creation and destruction, and this causes us a lot of tumult in our life. Take the example of a lady. She has brought up her child. She loves her child. She adores her child. And then one day this young man goes and gets married. The destruction of his bachelor status is the creation now of his married status. If the mother is not a wise mother, she finds this change difficult to take. And when change is difficult for us, it's really difficult, it really hurts. We do not understand that our bodies are mortal bodies, and the moment something is born, it subjects itself to death. The Gita says, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. For him that is born, dhruva, certain, is mrityu, death. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. For one who is born, death is inevitable. You understand that. I understand that. Everybody understands that. But if someone near and dear to me passes away, I seem to forget this fact of life. When I am living my life, I am expecting a status quo. The world is made up of creation, maintenance, and destruction. The world means change. We have to get that very clearly embedded in our heads. Otherwise, the change will always cause us pain. It's quite interesting that even change for growth causes pain. A typical example of that is when these young children, they pass their first standard and they're going to second standard. There is a pain associated with it, and some of the young kids say, no, I don't want to go to the new class, I want to stay in the old one. So even if the change is for good, there's a certain amount of discomfort created. Even if you go on a promotion, the fact that you're changing causes a certain degree of discomfort. Why is that? Because we have not imbibed this idea that the world means change. That's the first thing you learn about the world. The second thing we need to learn about this world is that the world is made up of pairs of opposites. High and low, good and bad, right and wrong, black and white. This change that takes place is within this realm of pairs of opposites. So the first description of the world is change. The second description of this world is it is nothing but pairs of opposites. Different opposites in different fields, different opposites. That's what this world is made up of. And the world, like a pendulum, swings from one side of the opposite to the other at all times. We don't seem to get this either. We expect everything to be more or less the same. That's why we ask questions such as, should I trust everybody? Should I trust everybody? First, assess the world. What is the world? The world is made of pairs of opposites. Therefore, what would it be? There would be some trustworthy people and some non-trustworthy people. How can you trust everybody? How can you do anything which is the same across the board? How could you do that? Because the world is made of pairs of opposites. Just so many different things are going on. Each time you cannot have the same reaction to different things. The world is wide and multifarious and has so many different angles, different attributes. How can we go about doing the same thing in all circumstances? So that's why this is wonderful quotation from Abraham Maslow. He says, to one who has a hammer, everything appears a nail. So we have one way of dealing with something, and we use the same way in all things. A hot-tempered person will always shout. A quiet, gentle person will always be quiet and gentle. We don't seem to appreciate that the world is made of pairs of opposites. different circumstances, different situations are going to require a different treatment. So all sorts of things are going on in this world. All the various pairs of opposites are going on. And we have to get it. So what is the first thing we learnt about the world? That it is made up of change. What's the second thing we must learn about the world? Is that it is made of pairs of opposites. And the third thing is that the world in itself has a stern reality. So you may say, so what? Well, what's your point in saying that it has a stern reality? The point in saying that it has a stern reality is that we seem to think that things are going to be the way we imagine them to be. Things are going to be the way we imagine them to be. We don't seem to understand that there are some stern realities over here. A young girl gets married, and when she's getting married, she thinks to herself, you know, when I get married, it'll be so wonderful. He'll go to work, then he'll come back from work, and then we'll have a cup of coffee together. Or she has some ideas in her head of how this marriage is going to work. Very often, we do not examine whether the stern reality of that situation is in accordance to my dreams and imaginations about that situation. So she gets married, and then she finds what? She may find the husband doesn't go to work. She may find that he goes to work and he comes back so late that there's no time for coffee. So many different things. Because we don't begin the whole process by trying to find out what is the reality of the situation. A person wants to make a lot of money, and so somebody gives him a business proposal, tells him, you know what, there's 300% profit in this business, and he gives him some things. He's so carried away with the idea that so much money is going to be made, he does not examine the stern reality of that. And so what happens is that however much I may close my eyes to the reality of things, that reality strikes. There was one lady who was told to do a biopsy, and she refused. She said, oh, kuch nahi hota. And she got herself some oils or something and she applied them. And poor thing, she was dead in 6 months' time. We don't seem to realize that there is a stern reality, because this world works on cause and effect. A diabetic cannot say to himself, oh, kha lo sugar, kuch nahi hota, just because he wants to. The world has a stern reality, and if we don't take cognizance of it, we will bang our heads on it. And that's going to hurt. So we have to understand these three things about the world. One, that it's a changing world. It is not a static millennium. Number two, it's made up of pairs of opposites. This change is always taken between the pairs of opposites. Number three, the world in itself inherently has some reality. Our dreams are not going to change this. Our hopes and wishes are not going to change it. It has some reality. So what can you do? What do you have to do over here? There is only one way to deal with this world. And that is to adapt ourselves to it. The world is vast. I am an individual. The entire world cannot cater to me. I must learn how to adapt to the world. I have to deal with the situation as it presents itself right now. I cannot expect only those situations which I like. What happens is that each one of us is made up of likes and dislikes. We are full of likes and dislikes. We are a bundle of likes and dislikes. And there's this ever-changing world ahead of us. So there is me, full of likes and dislikes. There is the world, which is ever-changing and harsh in its reality. And I'm expecting this ever-changing, harsh world to constantly fit into my likes and dislikes. not working. And when it doesn't work, I'm extremely disappointed, I'm extremely hurt, and to add insult to injury, I say to myself, it's a terrible world, it's a horrible world out there, it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's not a dog-eat-dog world. Why not? Think about it. Because it's made of pairs of opposites, right? If there are dog-eat-dog, then there are also angels. It's a mixture. It's a bale. All sorts of things are in it. So when things are not happening the way I would like them to happen, I start criticizing and condemning the world. A more sensible way of dealing with it is to learn to adapt myself to the world. So what does that mean? That means that, okay, the world at the moment is something. I would like it to be maybe something else. Let us say my bank balance at the moment is 10 rupees. I would like it to be 100 rupees. So first thing I do is I take cognizance of the fact that it is currently 10 rupees. I take cognizance of this. Okay, I want it to be 100 rupees. So I have to deal with two realities over here. What it is now and the time it will take me to reach the goal that I have set for myself. I am somewhere now. In everything, I am somewhere now. It could be my health, it could be my wealth, it could be my nature of relationships. I am somewhere. And if I want it to be something else, my first step is to take cognizance of the reality that it is right now. This is my wealth status. This is my health status. This is my relationship status, whatever. This is my level of spiritual growth. Now, where do I want to get? I want to get somewhere. Right. So, first I see what it is now and adjust the way I deal with it now so that I can reach wherever I wish to go. So, I have to take into account that I am somewhere now and that it will take me time to reach wherever I want to go. So, the only way to deal with this ever-changing world of harsh realities is to learn to adapt myself to it. Adapt myself to it means whatever circumstances come, I have to take cognizance of them and then decide how I would like to change them to whatever else I would like to change them to. It's something similar to the concept of she stoops to conquer. The famous idea, she stoops to conquer. If you refuse to, you won't conquer. It's that simple. You can't expect anyone to change for you right now. But what you can do is learn to change yourself so that you can deal with the person in front of you. So that then you can go wherever you'd like to as far as the relationship is concerned. So I must learn to adapt myself to this world. Whatever it gives me, I must learn how to deal with it. And if I ever learn to do that, an amazing miracle takes place. It's strange, but this world which was bothering me, which was causing me so much trouble, suddenly becomes a wonderful world to live in. Suddenly this world becomes majestic and awe-inspiring. That which seemed to me just troublesome and painful now appears quite differently. It seems as if I have much to do, much to conquer, and yes, I am getting support from the world. The vastness, the greatness, the magnitude of the world becomes incomprehensible. Amazed by it. So every time I have stretched myself to accommodate the world within my mental scheme of things, I suddenly find that the world has stretched itself to reveal to me a vastness, a wonder, a beauty that I had never seen before. The circumstances may stay exactly the same, but I am now seeing something quite different. So as I keep on dealing with this world and purifying my mind to deal with this world, the world starts appearing to get purifier, purer and purer. That which I thought was so negative starts to look quite different. And eventually, as I grow higher and higher in this journey, I see a strange phenomenon that the whole world, from being vast and awe-inspiring, becomes nothing but a play of divinity. And there's this lovely story of Guru Nanak, and the story goes that a man went to his shop, and he used to keep the shop, so he asked for grain, and he asked for 13 of those units of measurement. So he took out and he said, 1, 2, 3, and he went on measuring, and he came to 10, 11, 12, 13, and the story goes he gave the whole shop away because he said, 13, 13, it's all yours. Incredible how as you grow, by a simple recognition of the world and dealing with it on a moment-to-moment objective basis, one day it converts its image to reality. First it goes to being wonderful and awe-inspiring, and then it converts itself to just seeing divinity. You understand the whole thing as a Leela of the Lord. You see the whole thing as divinity. And you begin to understand slowly that the true nature of the world is divinity itself. There is nothing other than divinity here. And that seems a wonderfully high state to be. But there is still one slight ego left in us which says that I am seeing divinity. And finally we come to the highest point, which is divinity and divinity alone. Not even me to see that divinity. And then you find out that eventually the world is just Brahman and Brahman alone.